Welcome to Audience First, a podcast for tech marketers looking to break out of the echo chamber to better understand their audience and turn them into loyal customers. Every week, Danny Wolf has brutally honest conversations with busy tech buyers about what really motivates them, the things they hate that vendors do, and what you can do about it. Get access to practical information on how to build authentic relationships with your audience. Listen to and talk with your buyers, and apply real customer insights to your strategies and tactics. You owe it to the world to unmute your mic. Are you ready?
All right, welcome back to another episode of Audience First. I have a very special guest as always. I have the one and only Ayman Elsawah with me today. What's going on, Ayman?
Hey, Danny, how are you?
I'm very well, staying dry, fortunately, after this week's shenanigans and the weather.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. You got to stay dry.
Did it head up and hit you all in the Bay Area over there?
There's some wind. There's some
Okay.
wind today. I see some dark clouds. I'm like, oh, what's going on? But it's got to be some remnants from down there. So maybe we'll get
That,
some water too. Who
that
knows?
sounds like I feel like a regular Monday in the Bay Area. Some wind,
You
clouds,
know,
and
yeah, a little. Well, not in the morning. It's
yeah.
very So we're a little dreary, but yeah, it's. Let's see. Hopefully, we don't lose power during this conversation.
Seriously, I know. Well, crossing fingers. Worst comes to
Yeah.
worst, we do this again.
Yeah.
All right, let's dig in. Let's kick it off. Eamon, tell me, who are you? What do you do? And why the hell do you do it?
Well, I was born in. No, I'm just kidding. So what I do, I help people with security. That's been my MO apparently for the years. But professionally, I am a fractional CISO for startups. And what that means is startups, for whatever reason, we're not going to blame them. They don't have a reason to have a full-time security person, right? It could be you could call it a CISO, a security architect, whatever it may be, a compliance person. So I kind of come in, kind of like the security A team, hop in and kind of help leaders, non-security leaders, with their security plan. Um, so that's what I do. It's called fractional CISO. A real, full-time CISO is a chief information security officer. That's someone who's responsible for security in an organization. And so I do it on a fractional basis, similar to fractional CTO or fractional CO as you see out there today.
hmm Why do you do it? What's your motivation for being a fractional CISO?
Yeah, good question. So it all started, I was always helping startups on the side when I was working in, full time in enterprises. And I was helping startups on the side with assessments and, just advice. And I saw a long time ago, probably like seven years ago, that there's a lot of startups that are just doing it wrong. They're just doing it wrong all over. And so, I'm out there to help startups and companies stop doing it the wrong way, do it the right way, make it accessible. There was this big need for having security. There was a thirst of having security knowledge and expertise, but there was no way for people to access it. Yeah, they can Google their face off. That's fine. But with security, there's a lot of nuances that are particular to each company. And so you kind of need someone that has been there, knows, can provide an expert opinion. And these founders, all they want to know is, what should I do now and what should I do later, right?
hmm
So
You've been in the security industry for quite some time, over a decade at least.
yeah,
Tell
yeah,
me,
15 years at least,
I want to
depending who
know.
you ask.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. I do want to know though. What do you hate most about the industry?
What do I hate most? Well, there's a few things. So one is, so the industry itself. It's funny. I in my podcast I would make like spoof ads where I'd make fun of the industry. Everything is a silver bullet, and we know that there's no such thing as a silver bullet. So like, oh, if you buy this today, it'll solve all your problems, and that's usually not the case. So, my qualms with the industry are one, the curmudgeons, right? The curmudgeons, the old um, school of thinking, where it has to be this way, it can't be any other way, which inspired me to write an article that cybersecurity is not black and white; it's 50 shades of gray,
hmm
basically. And and then the other part is, we're just, there's so much like whiz bang and like, okay, buy this and it's going to solve your problems. Um, and we're not really, a lot of times we're more solution oriented and not really problem oriented, right? So, with learning product management over the years, I've kind of learned that you have to understand what the problem is first before you apply a solution.
Hmm.
And a lot of folks, experienced or not, just kind of apply solutions without really solving the problem, or looking at what the problem is. I mean, take something simple as like fishing, like what are we trying to do? Are we trying to get more clicks on our Beatty tests, or are we actually trying to help people, not click phishing links? So, what are we trying to, but anyway, I digress.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So right now as a fractional CISO, what's your one bleeding neck challenge?
What's my bleeding challenge as a fractional CISO?
Yeah.
Just getting all the, um I guess the main challenge is just getting information uh to folks out there.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of people out there that are searching, trying to understand. They're very frustrated, and just getting the information out there for them to be able to develop a path, so that I can put myself out of a business. So,
Yeah.
that way.
Well, why is it difficult to get information to people?
It's actually gotten a little better, but yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, it's amazing now. Like YouTube, there's so much information out there. It's actually gotten a little better.
Yeah.
Through news, security newsletters and YouTube channels. But there's a lot of mix between vendors. And everybody kind of has their own priorities. I don't know if I've seen a resource. There's been some resources about like, just here's how to go from zero to hero.
Mhm.
Um, I think I think it's just figuring out your audience. For me, when I write, I like to distill it down and make it very simple. I like to demystify it.
Mhm.
Um, I think a lot of people, when they're communicating out there, assume some level of security baseline. I assume nothing. when people are coming out there. So, I don't know. To answer your question, I'd have to think about it for a second.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, we could always go back to that. You could always hit me up after and let me know what you thought about there. But
sure.
so right now as a fractional CISO, and you note that you're a fractional CISO for SaaS, right? Is that your
Yes.
niche? It's your bread and butter there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. SaaS companies. I don't deal with on-prem,
Mhm.
or I don't like to. I mean, I like to. I like to help people, but I specialize in SaaS. They have a particular way to solve problems. They have a particular mentality. I've been cloud focused since like 2016.
Mhm.
Ever since I, worked on an incident in AWS, I'm like, this is cool, and I'm like, I didn't look back. So yeah, I just cloud focused everything.
So what's your ultimate goal? Like what are you trying to achieve as a fractional CISO? Let's say you come into to your latest and greatest client.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I realized that the fractional CISO business is still linearly scalable. So there's a limitation there. There's some good shops out there, but at the end of the day, you still have to keep throwing bodies out there. I think for me, it's taking it to the next level through education, media, helping folks out there just really get technology like ChatGPT now. It's funny. Some people are saying, you don't need a vCISO or fractional CISO, just use ChatGPT. Well, I encourage it. Go ahead and ask it. You know, but of course, just like anything in AI, you have to understand how to ask the prompt properly, right? So how to ask the right questions and things like that. So yeah, I mean, go for it. But at the end of the day, you're probably going to need like personalized. So at the end of the day, for me, what's for fractional CISO, um, just getting out there, helping others. There's a lot of senior CISOs out there that want to become fractional CISOs. They're done. It's so funny. Um, I talk to CISOs and they're bored in their jobs. They want to
Really?
be fractional. Yeah, yeah, they want to be vCISOs. I'm like, what? Really? I'm like, you're like at the pinnacle of. So it's interesting. The grass is always greener on the other side. So there's a wealth of experienced CISOs out there that are looking to help give back to smaller startups. They're kind of they did their tenure. I've noticed that like it takes about 2 to 3 full-time CISO tenures, about of an average of a total of about 9 years for them to kind of like decide to want to do something else, go sailing around the world, or
Mm,
go farming, or go raise honeybees. Um, so I have honeybees as well. So,
really
but yeah, I raise bees.
interesting.
Yeah, they're a lot of work, but they're
I could go down so many routes right now based on everything you've uncovered right now.
well, yeah.
I do want to ask, in your opinion, why do you think it is that in-house uh, CISOs are getting bored of their job and wanting to go the fractional route?
They want to do something new. So I think fractional is one outlet, because they still want to do security, but they're depending on the job, being a CISO can be hard. There's It's well known that there's a high incidence of burnout
Yeah.
in the industry. When you're a consultant, any consultant, right? When you come in, you're brought in to be the expert. People listen to you. People listen to you. They're paying you premium dollar to tell them, to give them right advice.
Hmm.
So, of course, you have to be a good culture fit, right? So, you can't take the enterprise mindset and apply that to a startup. And that's where I do see a lot of people trying to get into the fractional CISO field fail, because there's not a good culture fit. Just like any hiring, you have to have the right culture fit. So you can't apply enterprise mentality to a startup. Startup needs the MVP of security, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, if they need a policy set, they don't need like 120 pages of policy documents, right? They need like 12 or
Yeah.
20, whatever it may be. They need the minimum viable. So understanding startup mentality, and as an entrepreneur, that I've learned that I've had to learn that on my own. And so I can relate to founders. I like that. That's why I love working with startups and founders, because they know. Um, I feel like we kind of speak the same language aside from security. But
Hmm.
anyway.
Hmm. So it's interesting because you're starting to uncover some differences between the fractional CISO and the enterprise CISO. But I want to drill down into that a little bit deeper. What,
Sure.
in your opinion, really truly differentiates a vCISO? And again, I'm going to use these terms interchangeably unless it's completely inaccurate to do so. The vCISO and fractional CISO. If there are differences there, let me
Well,
know.
actually, yeah. I mean, I could talk about. So I've actually moved away from the term vCISO
Okay.
lately, and I use fractional CISO, because at the end of the day, I'm still the main security person at a company. I help them with incidents,
Hmm.
policies, compliance. I talk to their clients, or their enterprise partners. For some reason, over the past few years, I listen. I had the vCISO term conjured up since like 8 years ago, like a long time ago, but I couldn't get traction. Now everybody's using that term, but unfortunately, you have like just any old person hopping in and um, become becoming a vCISO, and the thing is, like, it's built a negative connotation in the industry,
Hmm.
the word vCISO, because they're not real CISOs. Well, for some people, yeah, they don't have the experience of leading security at a startup. They might have been a security analyst for a couple of years and then decide they want to help a startup, or a security engineer, right? They haven't had the full gamut of experience before hopping into the vCISO role, and that's the thing. The vCISO isn't necessarily someone with a CISO experience. The vCISO can be a security, a part-time security analyst, part-time security engineer, part-time security architect, part-time compliance manager, all that in one. And I've had to, when I'm working with startups, I have to be all that, at any point in time. Not so much the security analyst or engineer anymore, but I'm a geek at heart, or so I like handling tools, and so I don't do that anymore necessarily, but I do like to geek out where I can.
Mm.
So I digress. So yeah, so I personally use Fractional, but you're more than welcome to use vCISO or Fractional, whatever you like.
I
Um,
just wanna use I won't use any term because I will use the term that resonates with you most,
oh
right?
no, no,
If
but I
you
wanted to
define
let
as a
people know. Yeah,
exactly, and
yeah.
to your point, this is the point of this specific, segment is understanding the differences between fractional CISO, vCISO, and even in-house CISO for and those could be segmented also by in-house CISO for small enterprise, small business,
Yeah.
enterprise. Does that also apply for vCISO and fractional CISO? Like, I feel like we need to create some kind of like matrix here,
Ooh,
right? And then
I
and
love
then
input there.
there's also like if you take a look at the CISO archetypes, right? What kind of CISO
Yeah.
are you? Does that apply also for vCISO and fractional CISO? So, I mean, this is really interesting. I mean, what let's I guess we could let's break this down. So, what differentiates a vCISO from a fractional CISO and an in-house CISO from, let's say, the daily tasks and the strategic let's say from the strategic let's start the strategic focus.
Okay.
Is that too high level of a question, or do we need to get a little bit more specific?
Maybe I think we could define the different. Maybe we help define different types of CISOs.
Okay, let's do it.
There's so many different types of CISO. So, you have CISOs at a public company or
Mhm.
a private company. I think what makes a CISO is where they report in the organization, which is directly correlated to how much leverage. I don't want to say power, but like leverage or power that they have. Do they have a dotted line to the board? Do they report to the CEO? Are they reporting to the CTO? Right? We all know that if the CISO is reporting to the CTO or CIO, they generally don't have that much leverage, and it's usually a conflict of interest. There are exceptions where it's worked out really well, yes, but that's a general well known. And so, in fact, there's some trends right now because of the economy and whatnot that they're letting go of CIOs and having CIOs report to the CISO.
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
know, so that's quite interesting. And then and then the SEC with all its rules and stuff like that kind of like didn't really make CISOs required. It kind of like it was a little vague, unfortunately, but I digress. So yeah, and then there's deputy CISOs, right? Like you could have like a global CISO and then like deputy CISOs, business CISO, or business ISO. Like there's all these like
Yeah.
different things. So
Mhm.
um there's a lot of work required for a CISO. Some CISOs don't have physical security, some do. Some have IT, some don't. Some have security operations.
You talked about, some of the, strategic, focuses of the in-house CISO, but what, in your opinion, differentiates the fractional CISO, the vCISO, and an
Uh,
in-house CISO strategically?
sure. So the fractional CISO or vCISO, we could use it. We could interchange it. It's fine. They're a hired gun. They're helping a company on a part-time basis. Sometimes they're helping a company. Um, they may be juggling multiple clients, so they have to have some sort of. They have to have a consultative approach. So I think number one, if you're ever going to go out there and become a VC or consultant, it's much different than full time work, right?
Right.
Where you have to be very consultative, hold people's hands, explain things, have high EQ, emotional intelligence. These are all things that are super important, and it's funny because um anyway, I digress. But these are things that are important. So you might be juggling multiple clients, or you're focused on one, and which is
Mhm.
fine. And you're working. You sometimes have the same, role because you're at a smaller company, so things are done at a smaller scale. You may have the same leverage as a regular CISO. You may be working with the CEO. If they like, they might bring you in to make a board presentation or whatnot. But generally, you're not.
Mhm.
With a fractional CISO or vCISO, you have less influence generally,
Mm.
right? Because you're always seen as an outsider. We have less influence company wide, with a grain of salt. In some companies, they really welcome you and they want you to, like, for me, I include, like, live trainings, and I do all this stuff. Because I think addressing the culture of a company is really important. And if you've built a culture of security, then and in any job, if you've done your job correctly, people are going to come to you and say, "Hey, am I building this right? Is this done securely?"
Yep.
Versus you having to run after them. And I think that's the best measure of whether you're doing a good job or not. Um,
I feel like that could apply for in-house as well, though.
yeah, oh yeah, 100%,
I
100%.
It's universal for all different kinds of CISO
Yeah,
types.
there's actually a huge amount of overlap. The difference is just the technicality as far as like where you are in the organization, who you
Mm,
report to, and
got you.
logistics from that perspective.
So, if you're working with multiple clients, right? How do you prioritize security budget, especially when there are different areas of need?
Yeah. So when you're like, so when you're a fractional CISO, that you're a majority of their budget. So it depends on the company's maturity and where they want to go. If you're coming in to just keep the lights on, right, then there's not going to be much security budget. If you're coming in to help them improve their maturity, then you're gonna want to convince them about security budget. Obviously, if you're a fractional CISO or virtual CISO, you are part of the budget. You're like going to be a big chunk of that budget.
Right.
Um, but depending on where they want to go, right? So, I have I've had some larger clients that have graduated through my program,
Hmm.
right? And so I came in, kept the lights on, and then at some point we decided to hire and grow the team. So I kind of gave them. I mean, most companies, the majority of the budget is people, right?
Yep.
Um, they also want to know what tools do we need at what
Hmm.
stage. So, there's a base level of tools like, malware defense and just IT management. You'd be surprised how many companies are not managing their devices properly,
Mm.
or just basic IT stuff. So a lot of the budget in the beginning is a lot of just basic IT stuff. Password managers, like this is all standard. Security awareness programs, password managers, and MDM slash malware tools. That's like basic level. And so companies want to know from someone like me, like a fractional CISO, what do I need now?
Hmm.
How much should I, can you help me pick a software? So I'm like, okay, let's take a look at we'll go through a whole like assessment, mini assessment. What kind of computers do you have? Are you global, remote, in person, stuff like that? Do you even have like key cards on your offices? Like, what's your risk profile? Do some threat modeling basically, and then based
Hmm.
on that, we come up with a budget. But then other companies, when they're looking to really accelerate their program, they want to hire. I've
Hmm.
helped hire CISOs, right? So they're like, okay, how much should we pay the CISO? I'm like, well, here's what the market, here's what the market's looking for. This is the range I would recommend. I also give them recommendations on organizationally where they should fit, and then key like, this is your company. You should look for these kind of similar company experiences and
Hmm.
stay away from this. For example,
Hmm. Yep.
I know that's not budget, but yeah, personnel is budget. That's a lot of it. They want to hire a security engineer. Should we hire a security engineer? Should we hire an engineer and give them 50% security responsibility? I mean, that's like a lot of the budget
Yeah.
question that I've had to deal with.
How do you
And
measure
so,
success? No, that was a great insight. How do you measure those success of the security investment for the startups or their initiatives? What's kind of the metric that you're measuring and crucial for your role?
yeah. One of the big successes is security culture. Do we have a
Okay.
good security culture? Am I, one is, have we built a good security culture for people to report or identify security issues, right? Do they know, like, are they reporting suspicious emails and things like that? On the other side, do we have the right capability to respond to those kind of things, right? Have we built that capability? So response and operations are a huge thing. Do we have someone that's triaging? Do we have an email? Do we have a security at for the company, right? That's an RFC out there. Do we have a security page? All these things are like, base level in my operating manual for like a company. Like these are basic things. Are we getting less questionnaires from enterprises? Are we, if we're trying to do compliance, are we on the road to getting compliance, or at least, getting there?
You mentioned something very, compelling to me, security culture, and that you have these specific criteria for checking off the box that we are aware, we have the culture, it's externalized. Can you take me through that again? Kind of a high level checklist of what should be externalized for people to understand that there is a security culture internally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So from an external point of view, I always recommend every company to have a security page. So,
Mhm,
acme.com/security.
mhm,
And that should list the things that you're doing from a security perspective, with also a PDF at the bottom that, someone could download. That PDF is something that you should be giving to your sales folks on outbound calls with your product to, what I call, be go on the security offensive. So, attach some security material with your product so that the business person on your client side, on the enterprise that you're selling to, or a partner or whatnot, can give that to their security team. Say, hey, this is what this company is doing from a security perspective. As a buyer, right? If I'm a buyer of a product, I'm always looking for like that security page. I want to know, is there a security page on this company website?
mhm,
Because what that signals to me is that they've taken the time to make this page.
mhm,
I can read that page and read all this stuff. I mean, I'm assuming it's true, but there's some thought that goes into putting this page together and assembling it. So that gives me a better warm and fuzzy than a company that does not have it. Same thing with privacy policy, all that kind of stuff. So I think that's super important. Um, there's tools that help automate that kind of stuff as well. I have some examples that I give to my clients as well, good examples of other pages. So I think that's a from an external perspective, that helps so much. And with SaaS, B2B SaaS, like, you really need that, because um people are looking at your product every day on your website, and they want to know, the security team is going to be looking at that. And it could be the difference of, well, I don't want to say that, but like, they're going to send you a questionnaire. But if you have a lot of information already available for them, right? Heck, even taking it one step further and fill out, it's called a cake CAIQ questionnaire, or a similar one. Fill out a questionnaire that has all this stuff pre-filled already, and give that to potential customers under NDA, of course,
mhm.
so that you can avoid having to fill out all these questionnaires. The questionnaire industry, that's coming back to, like, what's the problem? This whole checkbox mentality and questionnaire, like, CYA, it's become such a big mess, and now the insurance companies are on top. Like, it's just a big mess. But anyway,
You mentioned as a buyer that the security page is one particular, component to the decision criteria. Are there any other criteria you look at to move them from, "Okay, I know they exist," to, "Okay, let's actually evaluate and take a look at the product or solution or service?"
yeah. Well, in general, I'm always going to be assessing the company's security. So, aside from the actual product itself and its functionality,
Mhm,
I also want to know, where is security in its organization? Like, do they have someone? That's actually a question often on these questionnaires. Who do you have? Do you have someone dedicated or responsible for security of your organization? And so I'm always going to be looking for that, when I'm talking to when I'm trying to assess a product security. Is it just a VP of engineering? Do they have a security hire?
mhm,
A full time person? Do they have someone responsible for security there?
mhm.
Is it, you know, a lot of times it's just a VP of engineering.
Yep.
And, it's just part of there. So, that's going to tell me the level of security maturity of the company. If they have someone part time, full time, dedicated to security or not. And then from there, I could tell a lot about what they're gonna have. Of course, I want to look at other things like their secrets management, and do they have some solid CI/CD. When I was a buyer, I used to go deep and ask a lot of questions, and they're like, nobody ever asked these questions. I'm like, well, that's their problem, not mine. Like,
Mhm.
I like to go in. Um,
Mhm.
so yeah, these are I don't know. I think that does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are there any pardon me.
Sure.
Are there any differences or anomalies right now in the market that vendors can learn from or take advantage of to stand out?
Mm, that's a good one. Um, so there's a couple things. I mean, everyone's trying to right now the market is tough, right, for a lot of
Right.
folks. And I'm seeing companies take a couple different approaches. One is a PLG approach, product led growth, where they have the freemium model and trying to accelerate that way. The other one is just going towards enterprise. Um, what could they do to differentiate themselves? I mean, honestly, what saves me a lot of time, and I would love to see more companies have on their website, is like, show me what it looks like without
Mhm.
having to book a call. Like, I'd like to see the interface, but I understand, from a competitive nature that could be an issue, but fine. Like, I'll give you my email. Just show me a video, like a demo walkthrough, so I don't have to like, you know, um, necessarily book a call. I could see the interface. Like I could tell a lot if by the UI UX and like some functionality. Or you don't have to show me everything. You just give me a snippet.
Mhm.
Um, I think some different that could be some differentiators, but I'm not a marketing expert. So I don't know what else could be done. I think um we all know the basic testimonials and all that kind of stuff, but I'd love to see the product. Like, what does
Yeah.
it do? Like, let's shy away from all that like animated whiz bang videos and like I'm tired of it. I'm tired of that. I want to
Yeah.
see more meat, you know?
Can you recall a time when you've landed on a website that has given you a good experience like that?
Oh, let's see. I don't know. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So we have some work to do, folks.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna head into the my favorite part of the podcast episode, and wow, we covered a lot, but I do want to know. So this segment is called the shit list. I do want to know what's the worst thing you've experienced from a vendor.
What's the worst thing?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't know if I've experienced. I mean, it's been a while since. I guess what's the worst thing? Right now, it's more partners. So I partner with a select number of vendors.
Hmm.
Um, there was one person that like commented on my LinkedIn post when I posted um something about security awareness training, and like it was a very snarky and like passive aggressive comment. He was a competitor. And I'm like, well, that's kind of unprofessional.
Yeah.
Especially because I was trying to partner with his company, but and I think they were actually a partner, but like he was just really jealous. I'm like, listen, man, it's I'm very transparent. I'm partners with multiple people in a particular niche. I don't partner with everybody.
Right.
But I found that comment kind of weird.
Mm.
And I didn't work with that company again because of that comment. Um, so yeah, I would say, let's see. You're saying what's the worst experience I had with a vendor?
Yeah. I mean, it could be a vendor, it could be a partner. I'm trying to extract a poor example that we can flip on its head. Right,
Mm,
because these things are prevalent. Like, I've heard this experience before from somebody.
mhm.
Um
Yeah, I've been lucky. I've been lucky. Like I I hand select my partners
mhm,
that and they're all pretty cooperative and good. Um, so I mean, I'd have to think like back in my. I mean, we all know like the hounding of the emails
yeah,
and just keep sending a million persistent emails are just like, yo man, leave me alone.
yeah.
Um, there's that. Um, I don't know. I have to recall. I have to see what's.
I mean, that's fine. If there's nothing specific, that's good deal right there. But if there's so let us flip it, right? Let us flip it on
Yeah.
its head. Is there a specific time that you can recall where a vendor did something that made you feel really good? What worked for you?
Ah. Um. Oh, by the way, I do have a vendor shit list. Yeah. Um. Sorry. Is it okay to bring it up?
Yeah.
Or all right. So yeah, it definitely. What's not cool is not being responsive. Like, as I have certain partners that, software that I'm selling, and like when customer support is not responsive and you're taking like a week or 2 weeks to solve a problem, that's not cool, right? Like we're under tight deadlines, and not being able to solve things, that's not great.
Mm,
So that's been the bad experience that I've had with vendors, is that their customer support. It's funny, like when we're evaluating vendors, I was working with one of my clients to evaluate, and we actually saw that, like, okay, this one has 24/7 support. This one only has like 9 to 5, very limited support. It's only like via chat.
mm,
But we liked their product a little better, and sure enough, like their support was really bad. Like it just
right.
takes a long time to get a response, and whatnot. So trying to wonder, okay, are we better off with maybe a product that doesn't have the UI UX that we want, but
Right.
like has 24/7 response? Because when you're in a crunch, and you're working with my clients are all non-security experts, right? So I'm the only one in the room, so they're coming to me.
Mhm.
So the better that they can service my clients, the less loaded of it is on me, right? And it looks better for me too, right? It looks doesn't so
Yep.
that's been my experience. On the flip side, a good experience that I had recently was a vendor overpromised something. Turns out it was not included with the package, and I'm like, and is my reputation on the line. And I had to tell the customer, hey, by the way, this is not included, even though on the contract I wrote that it was, because that was what I was told. And I was stressed. I was like, what's gonna happen here? And I'm like, yo, dude, you need to escalate this, and take care of this. And they came through. They came through, and they included that product with the service, and that's great. That shows that's good business right there, right? That's good business. Um, they're not going to leave me hanging, right? They're not going to leave the client hanging. The client then, saw that, it worked. Everybody was happy at the end of the day. So I think that's a good experience. I think there needs to be more of that, where it's less transactional. I'm really, really allergic. Actually, I have a very uh, I'm not a transactional person. I'm all about the relationship.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of transactional things out there, right? And so I kind of like see this, and I can identify it, and I just, it's just a thing to be wary of when I'm out there in the security world.
Yeah, 100%. I love that. I've heard that before. Going the extra mile gives you the extra mile, so I'm all about that as well. We are headed towards the end of the session, so Eamon, I do want to know: is there anything else you want to impart on the audience today?
No, really looking forward to, you know, yeah, I really appreciate the time, and go ahead and check out Coffee with Eamon, and from there, and looking to help continue make cybersecurity expertise accessible to more people.
Right on.
So yeah.
Right on. So tell me, where can people find you, Eamon?
I think basically coffeewithAmon.com is
Mhm.
the main place. Right now, or last week, as a vCISO. So I have a newsletter where I give weekly guidance to folks. So last week as a vCISO .com, and then I have some courses coming out. So I'm trying to figure out where that's going to be. And so let's just keep it at Coffee with, or LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a great
LinkedIn.
place. Yeah.
Awesome. And at the next big show.
Yes. 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 Look out for me. with the microphone and camera. So yeah.
Amazing. Well, Eamon, this has been an absolute pleasure. You are welcome to the show anytime. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me, and I love your questions. So,
Thank you.
really thought-provoking questions, and it's good to have good humans in the cybersecurity field like you, because we need more of that,
I
and
appreciate
less of
it.
the curmudgeons. So,
Yes, I appreciate that so much. Thanks again. This has been another episode of Audience First. We are out.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Audience First. If you like what you've heard, feel free to follow or subscribe to Audience First on Apple, Spotify, or any of your favorite podcast streamers.